So as you probably recall, I did a video about Polkadot, $250 price prediction. We're going to do the same one, same realism using the Fibonacci. Yes, I know to some people in the comments going, Cardano's a ghost chain. You can't just use lines. Well, realistically, we're going to be realistic. I know. So Fibonacci is the only thing we can do if it breaks all-time highs. But I'm going to explain to you why I took profit too early in the previous cycle in this video. I'm going to explain what I would be doing if I was you in terms of profit targets. So it's more than just a price prediction video, right? Levels of significance from the past will bear fruit again in the future. Fingers crossed, providing Charles doesn't rug us and wants to start a chicken farm over in his lovely little farm area that he has. I can't remember the location, but you've probably seen pictures of it. I've got a photo here. However, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the obvious. Cardano has been requested a few times since my video on Polkadot, and I'm going to do a few price predictions just for a bit of realism and also a bit of fun to look back and see what actually does happen. So I will be going back to them in the previous ones I've done, in the future cycle, right? So, neck on the line. Anyways, moving on. So we all know what Cardano is. I'm not going to go over the details. Currently 13.1 billion market cap, but it has been much higher, right? Circulating supply is not too bad versus the maximum supply, which is good. There is a maximum supply. Volume's okay, and it has a vibrant community. I was a holder. I bought just after the ICO in 2017. I bought again in 2020, made a lot of money. Don't hold it this cycle though, as I've went a little bit further down, scrolled away, and found some new coins somewhere down here. Sorry, I'm back. Hi. So let's talk about it. Again, as always, in all my videos, please do your own research. This is all speculation. This is all based off some technical analysis, obviously speculation. It has to be a fundamental element to it in terms of the company, the coin, the DAO, whatever you want to know it as, has to get the network effect and grow. Yeah, all that good stuff. But I do want to talk about the obvious. It is still, in my opinion, one of the best coins to buy due to commitments. Follow the developers, right? Sounds a bit daft, I know, but you must follow them because it's showing that a product is actually getting built here. And I know there's always going to be a bit of slander in the comments going, but it's a ghost chain. I get the same with Polkadot. I get the same with this. I get the same with other assets that I talk about. So, but nothing. Trust me, if people are working on it, something is happening. If they've got a new roadmap, if they're hiring people, if there's people doing blockchain transactions, if people are staking the freaking thing, if daily commitments like what Cardano has, Cardano, Polkadot, and I can't remember the other one off the top of my head, is usually around the top 3 all the time in terms of commitments of blockchain. Crazy when you think about it. But let's talk about the past. So this is the previous one. Previous all-time high, which is the only chart I could find realistically on TradingView with like the all-time high from the previous cycle, which is roughly around 138, which was where the previous kind of bull cycle, a long time ago, as you know, went to the lows. Now, I've not counted, just to make this clear to you, I've not counted this random ass wick because there's no data to support that we went that low, right? So I've just gone to the previous levels, right, which is fine. Now, this is where it gets interesting. In my Polkadot video, I did it to the absolute top extension, which would have been, in this previous cycle, $6.30. We obviously got here. We just rejected the 2618, which is absolutely fine. Not that far away, let's be fair here. So all-time high was roughly 330, 320-ish. Not that far away from that level. Just missed it by 12%. So again, I will be demonstrating, and you probably noticed on the thumbnail that I have gone to the full area, as you can imagine, right? But you can see here, right? Now I want to explain to you where I sold my previous bull cycle asset. I bought Cardano between 2 and 4 cents in 2020 on the COVID crash. I wanted Cardano because I had it before. I put a lot of money into it. I did okay with it, but I sold very, very early in retrospect terms, right? Which is annoying. I sold at roughly 169, give or take around that mark, just before this extension level here. I just had a feeling it was just, when you think, it's ran too much. And the reason why, and I want to explain this to everyone, this is huge. You need to take profit to make money, right? But there's nothing wrong with taking profit too early. It just depends on how early you take it, right? In that sense, yes, if I held on for longer, it would have been fine. But hindsight's a beautiful thing, right? Even though I was buying around I'll put an average of about 4 cents, give or take, around that point. when I sold around this point here, give or take around 69, there we go, I made a lot of money. You can kind of see I made a lot of money, right? There's nothing against making money, obviously. I put a couple of $1,000s in here. This was in 2020 where I didn't have massive amounts and I had quite a decent spread. But in terms of tokens that I had, it made a good amount of money for me. When you look at your portfolio and you think you got 7 or 8 altcoins and they've all done a really good run, this was one of the biggest runners at the time. It's like, whoa. And when you think about it, thinking, right, I got out of dodge here, because yes, it went all the way up to 1618, and it melted, it went vroomf. It went way below where I sold. It went down to $1. And obviously what happened was the melt up, as they say, right? Crazy, right? So you've got to always look to try and get out at some point, right? Or you're never going to sell. You're never going to make it, are you? Anyways, that's enough of the past. Let's talk about the future because I think that's more important. But you can see the relationship between the Fibonacci. I just want to confirm it again. This level became very, very strong. And then when you look into the past, the future, sorry, or even into the past, when you go into the future, all these levels had some sort of significance on this weekly time frame. And where we are right now, as you can imagine, we're currently around this point, or just below it. Well, actually, no, we're on it, give or take. Scary. Anyways, moving on. So let's go to the main chart, the new one. So, same procedure. If you're new around here, the Fibonacci, it's a great mechanism to find in future extension levels where things could go. Now, blue sky breakouts, there's no support or resistance, but there is levels of interest due to mathematics, basically, and formulas, right? So we'll go from the swing high, which is the all-time high, to the absolute bottom currently. For this video to be invalidated, by the way, which could be fun, we will have to go below 24 cents, right? Whether that happens or not, don't know. But as I say, I do want to look at future predictions, but either way, it will still be some sort of validation anyways in the future of levels because we'll be looking at stuff like this. Levels of key interest where things have stopped and turned around, but not only on the Fibonacci level, but also what you can see. This is always future proof, right? As you can imagine. So if I was a normal individual and I've not revealed the price targets yet in terms of the future, because I know you'll be wanting them, but you will have to take some profit somewhere. So if you are buying at these lows, you will have to look at taking profit at certain points. If you've bought today, for example, what is wrong with taking a little bit off the table here, for example, at 3x, where there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of data, a lot of support, a lot of resistance, all that kind of stuff, right? And that's the thing. There is also other levels on the previous chart. Obviously, this is relatively much newer because it's on Binance. Again, look at the 618 levels, another load of stuff. It's a big level, right? So always remember your profit taking. So for me, I would always look to scale out some money just in case because you don't know where it's going to go, right? Sometimes they don't go beyond its all-time high. Kind of obvious, but it's kind of a thing, right? But if it does, we have levels at 388. We have levels at 488. We have levels at 774. Also 1061 and $13.47, which is the thumbnail. You're probably wondering, right? Now, nothing to say that these are never going to happen, but we've got to have a bit of realism here. Personally, I don't think the top one will happen in the next cycle, but in the future, it is a possibility if the ecosystem and the growth of the entire crypto space continues to grow. That's potentially could be decades away, by the way. So just don't try and get me out of context, right? Just got to be looking at the obvious. Now, for me, I think if you are looking to take profit and you've been buying these lows and you are not looking at 388 or 488, you probably should be, because that is still an absolute monster of a run. And let me just put this into context. If you are buying today and you get all the way up here, that is literally a 13 times your money on a big, big market cap coin. Huge, right? But let's put this into context with numbers. Again, if we're looking around numbers, $5. See there, 12x. Currently from this point, it's a $175 billion market cap. Now, Ethereum got to what, 700 or 500? Between 500 and 700 billion in the previous cycle, right? It still makes it somewhat undervalued, which is why I say something like $13, which sounds mad in the future, in future cycles, it's still a 34x, but it's still $455 billion. It would still be below the peak valuation of Ethereum in that cycle. So it's not crazy. It is a little bit, but you get the idea, right? Whereas some people on YouTube, and I'll put a few little thumbnails here just to kind of give you a bit of ideas, but they will just go, $100. What? This is a problem. So you got to have a bit of realism to a price prediction. You got to have a look at some sort of stuff, but also you got to look at levels of significance. I would much rather put my balls on the line and go weekly levels at certain fib points than just put a round number in your head. Because realistically, boys and girls, most people do it for the views. I could have easily just put $100 and just made a little bollocks up and gave you it. But there's no point to that. So you've got to be somewhat careful. But as you can imagine, right? People will, but they won't look at the fact of, oh my God, it's got $3.5 trillion market cap. That's crazy. But for me, if we're looking at 13 in the future, it's still only, it's not even over $1 trillion. It's 455 billion. Still below what Ethereum was, which is crazy when you think about it, right? So all that kind of stuff. But for me, if it's like $5 or even $6, and you've not taken anything out, you probably should be. But we'll see how this goes in the future, if I'm right, if I'm wrong. But for me, going over it, just to kind of recap, I will be looking at the $2 level, definitely. I'll be looking at the 382 level here, 133, definitely, for taking some profits off the table, and then hopefully letting it run at a certain point to certain fib levels. Easier said than done. Investing is not easy, but taking profit is pretty hard because you always want it to run. You always want to go a little bit more. It's like buying the bottom. You always want to get that little bit extra. But the key is not to be greedy. Just make money. Because if you can buy low and you can sell high up here, wherever it could be, even if it doesn't get to all-time high, and then you really like it, and then you rebuy back low, you got loads more units and more money. And when it does it again, you're going to make even more. Bit of a tip there. So yeah, there you go. If you enjoy, leave a like. Join my Patreon if you want to get more of these sort of random kind of knowledge and other videos in a really decent community. And yeah, hi.